Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks. Sampler review series V's I've been doing for a little while now. Go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks, I'm gonna talk about stuff. I'm gonna let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff. That time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't planning on doing a review, but yeah, this enticed me enough to get me to do it today. But we'll get to that. Folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there and try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. And whilst I'm doing all that, folks, well, you can already see it. Boom! I'm wearing a super cool shirt. Folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. But what super cool shirt am I wearing for you today? Well, it happens to be my second boom. Boom! My Dead shirt. Yeah! Fuck is Dead, though. So Dead is a band out of Arizona of the nu metal variety. I would consider them part of the nu metal revival movement. And if you're unfamiliar with nu metal, it's a subgenre of metal. It tends to blend elements of like industrial, hip-hop, metal. It kind of blends a few different things together. Very popular throughout the late 90s, early 2000s, bands like Korn, Limp Bizkit, what have you. And really cool thing is that there's been sort of a resurgence in recent years, and we've actually got some new bands that have come out of that. Dead is one of those bands, albeit their lead singer, he actually has some old school nu metal roots because he was originally in a band called Half Gain back in the day. I was fortunate enough, I actually got to see these guys perform live not too long ago, just a couple weeks ago at the time I'm doing this. I actually have videos of their performance on my channel, just in case maybe you want to check it out. If nothing else, I'd be more than happy to kind of point you in the right direction as far as their music goes, because I got nothing but great things to say about these guys. But anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? What enticed me so that I just had to get in a review? Well, folks, I out to see some friends, and I decided to go over there and stop off at one of my favorite shops, a place called Rocket Fizz, which is this cool, like, chain of specialty candy and soda stores. So, you know, they have, like, old-timey stuff and import stuff and just all kinds of stuff. And, well, if you watch my channel, you know I love root beer. And, well, they had something I was like, all right, sure. Boom! It's this. It's from Oh So. This is their Butterscotch root beer. Ooh, Butterscotch root beer. Now, it's from Orca Beverages. So, see, it's since 1946. But Orca Beverages, like, you know, they must have gone over there and, like, bought up the rights to do, like, a bunch of these things. Like, Orca Beverages has only been around since 1987. So, yeah, this is definitely not the original, but fuck it. It's keeping it alive. I appreciate it. So let's get a thing for the thing here. It looks like that. Ha 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 ha! And let's give it a go. Are you a screw-off? Yes, you are. And if you watch my channel, you know that I love root beer so much. I have an entire playlist called Root Beer Reviews. Just for root beer related reviews, that's where this is going to end up. Let's give it a go. Ooh, that's very butterscotchy. Let's give it a go. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. One thing that I've found, not across the board, but certainly with some of like these Orca beverages, where again they're just, you know, using the branding and stuff like that. Some of them tend to be a little bit kind of light. You know, like they're not as full flavored as you might want. But again, that's not across the board. I have had some that I've been thoroughly impressed with. So, you know, this one, I would say somewhere in the middle between that. The flavor on it's good, but it's very one-dimensional. Yeah, like there's no real kick to it, no real oomph. And to be fair, like a butterscotch root beer, and I've had butterscotch root beers before, they tend, you know, they're sweeter, obviously. You know, they've got that butterscotch flavoring. But But I don't feel that sweetness has to preclude depth of flavor and personality. This has a little personality, but not a lot. This is definitely some guy named Steve who, you met at a party one time, and yeah, he's a nice guy. He's, maybe he's doing like his undergrad studies or something like that, and you talk to him for like, maybe 20 minutes because that's just the way the party's been flowing. And then you leave, and then you're like, I don't need to ever remember that guy again. That's kind of where this comes into play. It's fine, but it's not memorable. It really is, it just, it busts its load way too quickly. The front flavor of it is nice, because like I said, you do get that nice sort of butterscotch hit, which, not everybody likes butterscotch, but I like butterscotch. There is sort of a root beer current behind it, but it's not, it's not like a real proper push, It's definitely more flavored at the front, and then kind of the tail end is a little less impressive. But it drinks nice. It's smooth. I mean, for me personally, when it comes to root beers, I do tend to prefer harsher root beers. Even if you're talking like commercial root beers, ones that are more widely available, I tend to prefer like Barks and Dad's as converse to like A&W and Mug, which are sweeter root beers, a little bit more easy to get into. This probably falls more on the side of like the A&W and the Mug, but I will give it at least some credit in that like it's not just sweet. There is at least something to it, but it's just not as much as I personally would like. It's not bad, but it's not doing enough to really impress me. It's an okay root beer. I've had better root beers before. I've had better butterscotch root beers before, but it's not doing anything to cause me any grief. It's not a bad time. It's just not a terribly memorable time. I will say I'll give it a little credit. I like kind of the way it lingers on the tongue a little bit, but I wish it would linger for longer. But it's not bad. Two questions have to be asked, though. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? Probably not, and kinda. I mean, again, like, I like these legacy brands, and, I think it's cool that Orca is keeping them alive. That's neat. I do wish they were a little bit more impressive, but, like, I mean, I can't blame that on Orca. Like, I don't know what the original shit tasted like. Maybe it always tasted like that. But yeah, it's just this one in particular. It's not a bad butterscotch root beer, but I've definitely had ones that were better, where the butterscotch flavor was more prominent, and there was just more depth of character to it. For me, it's very average. It's like a solid C. And that's fine. Fuck, man. I had a C+ average throughout high school. I did just enough to do what I needed to do. So it's got a passing grade, but I don't think I would get it again just because I know there's better options out there. But I will say this, if I ran into it just randomly out in the wild, sure, I guess I might pick it up again. But if I'm at a specialty shop, I don't really need to go back to it. But if I'm recommending it, though, like, I fully acknowledge, like, I'm a little bit of a root beer snob. It's one of the few things I'm a little bit snobbish about. So when it comes to, a root beer, like, I'm going to be a little bit harder on it. It's not a bad root beer, and if you've never had a butterscotch root beer, it's not a bad one to get into because it's not overwhelming with that butterscotch flavor, which could be a, good thing or a bad thing for you. So in that way, I'll give it credit in that it's a little bit more accessible. And, there's nothing bad about it. It's just, I do personally think that, yeah, there's better options out there if you want to go over there and wet your palate. But 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, go over there and have yourselves a truly root beer-tastic rest of your life. Because when it's root beer, it's always root beer-tastic. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do it all the time, I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Now, folks, not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important we go over there, whenever possible, take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, do you have any legacy brand sodas that you personally enjoy? And, like, it doesn't have to be through Orca, just any, like, sort of older style stuff, I mean, I'm always up for, like, the older style stuff, because, like, it's always interesting to me. And, of course, it is that thing of, like, does it really represent that style? Because, like, obviously things like Coca-Cola, nowhere near what it was originally. But let me know.